All right, it's another episode of the very exciting Business Learning Lab where Meredith and I share some business lessons we've learned along our entrepreneurial journey to hopefully help other business owners either not make the same mistakes, blunders, missteps that we've made, and hopefully save you some trouble. I mean, that's the bottom line. Plus, it's just fun to talk business. So, Meredith, today we had something kind of fresh on our mind because of what's going on in our own business. And
Mhm.
that is the importance of forming strategic partnerships and actually implementing that as part of your business growth strategy. So, first, I just want to talk about let's talk about what a strategic partnership is because that term, like all business terms, gets bantered around, and sometimes people don't really understand what we mean by that.
Exactly.
You have a definition for us.
Well, I don't have a formal definition,
Oh,
but
okay. Okay. Sorry, I put you on the spot
uh,
there.
I didn't pull out my Wikipedia. But basically, I think first of all, we often list it in our list of things that are CEO tasks, and that's a whole other topic we talk about a lot is being in your CEO zone and setting up and finding strategic partnerships is right in that wheelhouse of being a CEO. So
Yeah.
that's the first part. So basically, it's finding a company where you can align in terms of services, in terms of audience that you serve, in terms of hopefully, philosophy and values and that kind of thing, to come up with a partnership that's mutually beneficial. So
Yeah.
it doesn't always have to be about money. I think a lot of people assume it's always about like referral bonus or your revenue share or kickback, and for us a lot of the time it's not about that because we want the bigger picture growth, not like a trickle of a couple bucks off every sale kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think for us, we approach it in terms of a relationship. Like you use the term mutually beneficial. So the mutual parties in that mutually beneficial relationship will be our strategic partner, our clients, our team, their clients, their team, us, them. So, we always say that we strive for a 360 ecosystem, right? So everybody has to win in that 360. So it can't just be a good, you know, it can't just benefit us. It has to benefit all the parties that touch this strategic partnership. And when you do that, I think you just set yourself up for, just exponential success.
Mm-hmm.
There are, more transactional strategic partnerships where maybe you get a little bit of a kickback for referring. But to me, that's a very shallow
Mm-hmm.
partnership, and typically more transactional and not really benefiting all the parties touched within that partnership.
Yeah, and
Um,
I found that the ones that are really just focused on that like dollars, like okay, use this code and every time you refer someone I'll give you, $20 or $200 or whatever it is, that they don't tend to go anywhere really. That they like you said, they're very shallow. They're not really about a relationship. They're about a pipeline at best, and then that's fine. Like those serve their purpose, and depending on your business and your needs and your scope, like that may be exactly what you want. But for us, I think we found that the ones that are like more honestly focused on a relationship, on a big picture, long term growth together and a benefit to our clients as well as to us and the other company, that those tend to yield better things, and sometimes things you don't even expect. Like we don't always know everything we're going to get out of a strategic partnership, but we know enough to go forward.
Yeah. And there's so many benefits, right? So, one of the benefits outside of the obvious, which would be sort of generating a nice, robust referral pipeline between the partnerships. I think that's,
Mm-hmm.
the base expectation after all is said and done. But I find that there are other benefits. And one of those can be a cementing of your thought leadership or a cementing of your expertise or leadership in your industry, right? So, because this partnership is bringing some value to your clients and you're orchestrating that, it just kind of solidifies your expertise, the value that you bring to the table, and makes you a stronger company.
Yes.
I love
Exactly.
that. I love that
Yeah.
about it.
I mean, what's not to love, right?
It's all love all the time for strategic partnerships.
Yes. And that's sort of the conversation, we just came off of a conversation with a potential strategic partner, and we're not going to say the name till everything is done and set in stone. But this was one of those where, like, initially they weren't seeing it. They're a younger company. And so they were sort of like, what do you want? Like, they kept looking at us as a client, which isn't the right fit. And so then they were just like, okay, well, how much money do you want? Like, what is your handout for? And we kind of like, no, look, this is, and they, and then they start to flip and say, just to be fair, like, we don't have a huge, we don't know that we can refer you a ton of people every week. And we, how to say that that's not the thing that's important, because your service is going to make our clients' lives better. And that by virtue makes us happy, and it makes our jobs easier. Our virtual assistants are going to have an easier job serving those clients, like all this stuff. And so just that is enough for us, that your product is going to, and then if we could have like a partnership and we can make it easy for us to integrate all that kind of stuff, like that's the wins. That's it. Like, we're good. Anything else after that is gravy. Really.
Gravy. And don't we love gravy? And I love that you brought that up, that when we approached them initially about a partnership, how they didn't quite see it, right? And I think, one of the things we wanted to talk about today is how to find and form strategic partnerships. And part of finding and developing these partnerships is really just being open to them, right? Like, always looking, always seeking, noticing, and this was something where this particular partner, we got turned on to it because some of our current clients were using this product and loving it, and our team was loving it, and we saw the potential for our partnership. So it was just a matter of like, oh, like, we could see the benefit, let's make this work. So part of that is just kind of always being aware of the businesses and people that you're intersecting with, particularly when you share a client base. So our clients are the same clients they serve, but we serve them in completely different but complementary ways. So that's a really easy formula for a strategic partnership if you're looking for one. Like, what other businesses intersect yours and the clients that you serve, but you're not competing, but you're complementing each other. Real great, simple formula for a good strategic partnership. I felt like I had another point. I'm trailing off though. So I'll hand it over to you, Meredith.
And the idea that, like, sometimes the other side doesn't always see it, see the big picture. And we persevered because we saw it, right? And we knew that, assuming they were willing to keep talking and, like, be open to what we were proposing, that, like, we would get there, and we did. And I think it's going to be wonderful and exciting. And it was sort of, once the COO realized that we're about relationship, not slicing up that pie and trying to get our hands in their business, his whole countenance changed. Like, everything kind of shifted, and it got a lot lighter, and we got a sense. And I think, like, personality wise, we're probably going to get along great with their team too, which is going to, just make everything easier. And that the idea being that focusing on the relationships is really, I think, the key, but not being afraid to be like, no, you're not seeing what I'm seeing. Like, let me try again.
Yeah,
let me
absolutely.
make this.
And getting the right people involved too. So we initially met with somebody on the sales team. Great person, so smart, so great. And that was where we still weren't quite, like, getting our thought process on this partnership across. But she knew enough to bring in the COO, and we were like, no, we're talking about something different. She's like, okay, I think we need to bring in the COO on this and get his take and start, shifting this conversation a little differently. And so, talking to the right people. And you're right, once they got it and they saw it, they were 110% in. And now we're, same week, we're meeting with the marketing team. We're coming up with, like, strategies, press releases, all of this stuff. They are 100% behind the partnership, which makes us feel good that it validates us that they saw what we saw and the potential for both of us to really come out of this as stronger businesses by virtue of our relationship and this partnership. So it's so exciting. And the other thing I wanted to talk about with strategic partnerships is that I don't see enough business owners spending time developing them.
Yes.
I do see a lot of business owners spending time and money on other means of growth that aren't nearly as effective.
Mm-hmm.
I think almost 100% of business owners I talk to say they get their business from referrals. And we work mostly with service-based businesses. From referrals. Well, you can get a referral one at a time, and keep networking and, doing your thing, which, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It's always a good thing to network. Or you can form a strategic partnership that you serve well and that is a win for everybody involved. And it can be a robust pipeline of referrals on an ongoing basis. You don't have to work so hard, right? These strategic partnerships, the word strategic is in the name for a reason.
Exactly. And I think also, thinking about it from the other side of that, which is you become more valuable to your clients when you can solve their other problems.
Yes.
If you have these strategic partnerships, it's not just some random, I heard of this company that will help you, but you're saying, I know this company. They're great. We trust them. We work with them all the time. We share a lot of clients. They are going to solve this other problem for you. It helps you become more valuable. So that for us in this partnership we were talking about today, that's what the main thing we're looking at from there is being able to say to our clients, we're having a very specific issue. Hey, we have the solution. It's a solid referral. It's this company. We know them. We work with them. We have all the stuff in place. It's going to make the integration super easy. Here you go. Well, that just strengthens our position, which again is so much more valuable to us than a little kickback on the sale of their product or anything like that. But it's looking at this bigger picture. And so I think from this other company's point of view, it took them a minute to understand what we're saying, which shows us they've not been thinking about strategic partnerships as a way to grow their company. They're relatively new, they're small, and 100% get it that there's so many other things that are clog up your brain in those early days, no judgment at all. But that is a very common mistake or a very common opportunity. I want to call it a mistake. It's a very common opportunity that's overlooked in growth strategies is seeking out partnerships and strategic partnerships, because I think that's going to help them grow a lot faster than some of the other stuff they're doing.
Yeah. And the beauty of it is it didn't cost us a dime to pursue the strategic partnership and to solidify it and move it forward. It did not cost us a dime to make that contact, schedule a couple calls. It just took some time, but it was a great investment of our time that's going to have this payoff. And this isn't our first strategic partnership. This is just our most recent one. And because we literally just come off the call before we recorded Business Learning Lab, it was fresh on our mind. And that's why we moved it up in our topic list, because it just reminded us of the benefits of strategic partnerships and how if you don't have a strategic partnership strategy in place, or you have not been thinking about this as a growth strategy, you really need to start. And it could be simply just writing down on a piece of paper other businesses that also serve your clients that you do not compete with, and how you might be able to reach out. I think it's important to vet the business. We vetted this business partnership. You have to make sure that you have utmost confidence in the company that you're partnering with, because it can reflect either well on you or it can reflect badly on you if for some reason, I don't know, they tweet something racist, out on Friday, and you've just announced your strategic partnership. Well, that is not going to be good for you. So you need to make sure that, you're partnering with people that share your values, and you don't have to worry about that partnership falling apart because of that. So, yeah.
And I think one other thing I would mention, and this is something, again, that we're learning, which is point of Business Learning Lab, is to get the details in writing. And it doesn't have to be a contract, but just something where it's not just a verbal back and forth, we'll offer this and we'll do this and we'll do this. Get it in writing. you can get an informal signature if you want, like not, so, but just because I think it helps, because with another strategic partnership, it changed a little bit over time and we didn't realize it until later. We're like it wasn't a big deal, but it was just a surprise to us as something had changed. And we didn't really have document or even an email to go back to say, oh, I thought we were doing this and it's fine if you want to change. We weren't aware of the change. Yeah. Let's renegotiate. So, and that's something I've been thinking about with this new one is like, let's get everything really, written down and documented and it can evolve, but let's at least all make sure we're on the same page.
Yeah. And I would put a date, a timeline on your agreement, because businesses evolve and change, and the partnership terms might work really well today. But as each of you grow and your services change and your clientele evolves, it may be something that you need to update periodically. So whether that's like, I'd recommend 6 months. You can do a year where you just, revisit the partnership agreement, the strategic partnership terms, and make sure it's still working for everybody. Maybe you were too generous in your, part of the terms and you need to adjust it or whatever it is. It's always good to just kind of revisit them. It also just maintains that relationship and just solidifies the fact that you take it seriously and that it's an important part of your business relationship with them. So
agreed. Yes, very good point.
All right, well, at the end of these things, we always ask you to share your stories pertaining to this topic. Have you struggled with forming strategic partnerships? Do you have a strategic partnership that's really working, that you're really proud of? Because when they work, oh my gosh, they can have such a terrific impact on your business. So we would love to hear about your successful strategic partnerships. And if you've had any that have fallen apart and just, caught on fire in a bad way, we would love to hear those stories too. But until next week, have a successful week.
All right. Bye.